There is growing concern over the state of the economy among many Americans, and it is not good news for the president. In fact, a CBS News poll finds 48% of Americans disapprove of President Obama's handling of the economy. Joining us this morning are Democratic strategist Tanya Acker and in Washington, Republican strategist Kevin Madden. Good to have both of you with us, as always.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Tanya, I'm going to start with you. In some of the latest polls, it shows Republicans leading by as much as 6% as we move into midterm elections. The president is announcing some economic initiatives coming through this week. Is that going to be enough, though, this close to elections to really weigh in with Americans?
Well, I think in election terms, we still have a good bit of time. But I think what's really important right now, Erica, is for Democrats to start to connect the message of these reforms to their larger legacy as being the party that, frankly, has ushered in every single significant piece of domestic policy legislation in the past 100 years. There's a story to tell about health care reform. There's a story to tell about Wall Street reform. Part of the problem is that the Democrats have really allowed themselves to be defined by the opposition. Some of these reforms are going to require new regulations. They will require new taxes, but on who? Not on the people who are most in need of the help right now.
Are you saying Democrats have become too comfortable and in some cases too complacent with being in the seat of power? I'm
actually saying that Democrats have become a little too nervous about what the other side is saying about them, and they need to tell their own story. Some people in this, when you're dealing with these sorts of deficits, some people, some big corporations are going to have to pay more taxes. But the other part of this story is that if you look at some of the political maneuvering that's taking place, the business research tax credit that the president now wants to make permanent will very likely be opposed by the GOP because they don't want to give him a victory. That may be good politics. It's not good for the country.
So, Kevin, moving forward, you've heard Tanya's part of this. As you see, though, the initiatives that are going to be put forth this week, and as we mentioned, that 6% lead in the polls for Republicans, are you looking at all this and saying, we're doing something right on my side?
Well, I think a lot of what's happening right now with the environment is what the Republicans have done. What the Democrats have done wrong. Tanya said that there's a story out there for Democrats to tell, but a lot of the American people aren't buying it right now. I think that the reason that the White House is in trouble and the reason the Democrats are in trouble is because they've had a very left-leaning agenda with a very center-right country. So they're at odds with what the American people want to see out of Washington. They don't want to see spending. They don't want to see deficits. And when you look at the two major accomplishments that they've had this year, the $1 trillion stimulus bill and a $1 trillion health care plan, that has been at odds with what they've wanted to see out of Washington. They've wanted solutions, and instead what they've seen is spending, and they've seen spending that they feel has suffocated economic growth.
When you hear talk, though, of the economic initiatives that are coming this week that are to be announced, we got a taste of some of them from Bill Plant. Is this too little too late from the president and the Democrats, or does this perhaps concern some Republicans as we do move closer because there is time?
Well, look, I think that right now the electorate is going to render judgment on President Obama and his agenda and the Democrats and their agenda based on what they've done. These last-minute maneuvers are going to be, I think, accepted by Americans as tactics, and that they're really not going to be able to make a difference in people's daily lives. And I think that's one of the big problems that the Democrats have had on the messaging, is that they're going out there and saying, look, we have a recovery summer, everything's going fine, at a time where Americans are very anxious and very angry about the state of the economy.
We are just about out of time, so I'll give you a really quick one. Tanya, when you keep telling us every time you're here they need to get on message. Have the Democrats got your message, you think, in the ones that you speak with?
I think it's really interesting because maybe the one thing that Kevin and I may agree about is that there's a real disconnect right now between what the party is doing, what the Democrats are doing, and what the American people feel they're doing. And part of that is because this legislative agenda has been so big that, there's a lot of criticism that the party really hasn't done the cheerleading and done the messaging and really done the framing of these issues so that people understand what it is they're getting, and they need to do a better job of that.
And Kevin, I'm going to have to bring you back for your last point because we're out of time, but I know we'll be talking about this again soon. Kevin Madden, Tanya Acker, always good to have both of you with us. Harry, over to you.
Great to be with you.